Oh, that was a trip. Oh, Happy New Year, everyone. Hey guys, welcome back. It is a new year. We've had a little bit of a break. It's great to be doing Revelation Chat again. Doug is here and we are going to be talking about Revelation chapter 4, which is what Doug preached on Sunday. Now, in terms of where we are in the book of Revelation, a little bit of a gear change, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because what we've had in the first 3 chapters, we've had a view from heaven of earth. We've seen the churches, 7 churches. They're all a little bit rubbish, the churches that we've seen. They've all got their problems. And so as Jesus has explained to the churches what he sees from heaven, he's the one who walks among the churches. He knows it. He's there. He's intimately involved with every single church. But he recognises, you've got problems here. That's okay. You've done that well. But that needs to be addressed. And so, you know, we as pastors, we got to think there are things in our churches to address because there's no perfect church. So there's this view from heaven to earth that Jesus gives us of the church. And the consistent story there is that the church is a group of God's people in the grip of persecution, trial, fire, inadequacy, failure. And that's kind of the story of our lives.
Yeah.
And so that view of earth with the suffering, being overwhelmed by everything that's going on around us, striving to be the bride of Christ, sparkling, being the best that we are, doing the work of God in reaching out to the world. All of a sudden, at the end of chapter 3, we've got this vision of Jesus. He's there, he's at the door. Laodicea is probably the most rubbish of all the churches. Jesus is outside, which is a stupid place for the Lord of the church to be. But that was the reality there. But then in chapter 4, all of a sudden, John is shown, right, there's that door. So now here you've got a member of the church from earth. He's there in Patmos and he's in the grip of suffering and chaos and darkness, and all his friends have been murdered, martyred. Most of the people in these churches will all be killed by Rome. And there's John, who knows suffering, he understands it, and now he's shown through that door a vision of heaven and the realities of heaven. So just share a little bit more about what you were saying on Sunday and how that picture, you know, going from earth to heaven is a comforting picture.
Yeah. Well, like you said, and it's great to be back. I've missed this. It's good to be back. At the end of every letter, we get this promise to the one who conquers. For the one who conquers will not be hurt by the second death. To the one who conquers will eat of the tree of life. There's this promise to the one who conquers, or the one who overcomes. And what we get in our view is lifted, as you said, into heaven, and we see heaven's view of the church. And how do we see it? We see 24 elders around the throne, picturing the 12 tribes, the Old Testament church, the Old Testament gathering, the Old Testament ecclesia, and the 12, a picture of the 12 apostles. This picture of the foundations and the gates of the city, picturing the complete unity of God's people gathered around the throne of God, on thrones themselves, ruling with God, gathered around this crystal sea, this glass sea. And as we were thinking on Sunday, it links in with Revelation 15, and there we see this picture of a sea and fire again, picturing something of the new Exodus, picturing the first Exodus of the people who overcame, the people who conquered.
And that water was piled up high. It was a place of death for the enemies of God.
Interestingly, the word, when you go to Exodus and you read about it says the waters were congealed, and here it talks about the glass sea is almost like a congealing, and whether there's actually a link there, whether the sea when it was split and piled up almost became like glass, not sure, some speculation there, but really interesting. Whatever's going on, it's relating back to that event, that those who overcame are now stood by the sea, their enemies conquered.
And in Revelation, the beast comes out of the sea, chaos comes out. It's a threat, isn't it? The sea, the presence of the sea is a threat. In the end, we're told, when the New Jerusalem descends out of heaven from God, there's no longer any sea.
No longer any sea, which is
in the new creation, really no more sea. But here, the picture is stillness and calm, and everybody's above it. It's completely
Evil is quelled before God,
beneath the
and
people.
that's where the church is.
Yeah,
Not
that's
drowned in the sea, but by it, having been those ones who have overcome, who have conquered, which is the promise given at the end of each of those letters.
Yeah. Awesome.
So and we have a view in those first 3 chapters of what we need to know, but also we get this in chapter 4, this another angle. What we've been saying all along, Revelation gives us different angles on the same thing, and we get an angle where we see the church conquering, perfect with God.
Yeah,
it's really encouraging.
That is amazing, isn't it? So for John, it's like, because he's one of the elders, isn't he? You know, really. It's like, this is a bizarre view, but there he is in his sufferings, totally aware of the state of the church, that, you know, the poor persecuted bride of Christ. There you are, John. Yeah. You're above the waters of chaos, stillness. And then in chapter 5 it gets even better with it's the Lamb who's done this. Yeah. It's the Lamb who's defeated. The Lamb wins. That's how we overcome. Yeah. It's a real comforting picture, isn't it?
It is.
It is just a real blessing to us.
The reality of what's going on. It may feel like chapters 1 to 3, and there's work to do in chapters 1 to 3, but in chapter 4, this is how we stand before God.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Wonderful picture. Thanks for watching Revelation Chat, and we will see you next time.